My name is Samantha, and I want to tell you a story that turned my life upside down. It happened about a year ago, on a rainy autumn day. I woke up early in the morning in a bad mood. I don't know why, but from the moment I woke up, everything was falling out of my hands. I was nervous, angry over trifles, and even my favorite morning coffee didn't help improve the situation. My husband Jason was already getting ready for work when I came into the kitchen.
"Good morning, honey,"
he smiled at me.
"How did you sleep?"
"Not great," I grumbled in response. "Are you giving me a ride to work today?" Jason hesitated.
"Sorry, dear, but I can't today. They gave me a day off. I want to work on the car. It's been acting up lately."
I looked at my husband in surprise. "A day off? Since when do they give you days off in the middle of the week?"
"Well, they did,"
Jason shrugged.
"I didn't expect it myself."
Something in his tone alarmed me, but I decided not to pay attention to it. Quickly getting ready, I pecked my husband on the cheek and ran out of the house. It was raining outside, and my mood finally soured. All day at work, I couldn't concentrate. My thoughts kept returning to Jason's strange behavior. In the 5 years of our marriage, he had never taken unplanned days off, no matter how much I begged him, and now he suddenly volunteered to stay at home. And our car had just recently passed inspection. Why would it suddenly start acting up? Towards evening, my boss Michael asked me to go to the train station and pick up some package for him. I gladly agreed. At least some variety in the routine of the workday. Arriving at the station, I picked up the package and was about to leave when suddenly I noticed my husband in the crowd of greeters. Jason was standing at the edge of the platform, looking for someone on the approaching train. I froze, not believing my eyes. What was he doing here? Why didn't he tell me he was going to the station? The train stopped, and a young, pretty blonde woman got out of the carriage. Seeing Jason, she joyfully threw herself into his arms, and he hugged her back and kissed her. The ground disappeared from under my feet. I barely restrained myself from running up and making a scene right there on the platform. Instead, I hid behind a column and started observing. Jason helped the blonde with her suitcase, put his arm around her waist, and led her to the exit. They were animatedly chatting and laughing about something. I followed them on shaky legs. Getting into the car, I tracked where they were going. To my horror, I realized that Jason was taking this woman to our home. Parking nearby, I saw my husband gallantly open the passenger door, help the blonde out, and lead her into our building. I was shaking with fury and hurt. How could he? Bringing a mistress to our home while I'm not there, and lying about having a day off. I waited a bit and then went up to the apartment. Opening the door with my key, I entered the hallway. Voices and laughter were coming from the living room. "Jason?" I called loudly. "Are you home?" The laughter abruptly stopped. A few seconds later, my pale husband came out into the corridor.
"Sam? What are you doing here?" he mumbled.
"I live here, in case you forgot," I replied coldly. "But what are you doing here? And who is that woman in our living room?" Jason became even more nervous.
"Honey, I'll explain everything. It's not what you think."
"Oh, really?" I crossed my arms over my chest. "Well, go ahead, explain. I'm all ears." At that moment, the blonde peeked out from the living room. "Oh, hello," she smiled. "You must be Samantha. Jason has told me so much about you." I gave her a withering look. "Well, Jason hasn't told me anything about you, so who are you?" The blonde looked at my husband in surprise. "What, you didn't tell her? Wow, Jay." She turned to me. My name is Emily. I'm an old friend of Jason's. We haven't seen each other for many years, and today I'm passing through town and asked him to put me up for a couple of days. I hope you don't mind. I turned my gaze to my husband. He was looking at the floor, avoiding eye contact with me. Of course I don't mind, I said through gritted teeth. Jason, can I have a word with you? I practically shoved him into the bedroom and closed the door tightly behind us. So how do you explain this? I hissed. What the hell, Jason? You brought some girl into our house without even warning me. Sam, listen. No, you listen, I interrupted him. I saw you meeting her at the station, how you hugged and kissed her. She's clearly not just an old friend. Jason sighed heavily. Okay, you're right. Emily is my ex-girlfriend. We broke up many years ago before I met you, and today she called and said she urgently needed help. I couldn't refuse her. And that's why you lied to me about having a day off? I felt myself boiling with rage. Jason, we've been married for 5 years. I thought there were no secrets between us, and you just easily deceived me and brought your ex into our home. I'm sorry. I know I did wrong. Jason tried to take my hand, but I pulled it away. I just didn't know how to tell you about this. I was afraid you'd misunderstand. Oh, I understood everything perfectly, I snapped. You know what? I'm leaving now. And when I come back tonight, I want neither you nor your friend to be here. Clear? But Sam... No buts. I grabbed my bag and ran out of the apartment, slamming the door. I got in the car and drove back to work, barely holding back tears. How could he do this to me? Were all these years a lie? At the office, I tried to pull myself together and focus on work, but my thoughts kept returning to what had happened. Towards the end of the day, Michael approached me. Samantha, is everything okay? You seem distracted today. I sighed. I'm sorry, boss. Just a tough day. Michael looked at me intently. You know, I have a bottle of excellent whiskey. Maybe you could stay after work. We'll have a drink. You can tell me what's bothering you. In another situation, I would have refused. But now, I desperately didn't want to go home. So I agreed. We stayed in the office until late. I told Michael about what happened. He listened attentively and sympathized. And then he offered, You know, I have a friend who's a lawyer, specializes in divorces. I can give you his contacts. Thank you, but I'm not ready to think about divorce yet. I shook my head. I need to think everything over. Of course I understand. Michael nodded. In any case, if you need help, just ask. It was already past midnight when I finally returned home. To my surprise, the lights were on in the apartment. Entering, I saw Jason. He was sitting on the couch in the living room with a glass of whiskey in his hand. Where's your friend? I asked coldly. She left. Jason raised his eyes to me. Sam, we need to talk. What is there to talk about? I sighed tiredly. You understand everything perfectly well yourself. Yes, I screwed up. He nodded. But I swear, there's nothing between me and Emily. She really is just an old acquaintance who got into trouble. I shouldn't have lied to you, I know. Please forgive me. I silently looked at him, not knowing what to answer. Part of me wanted to forgive, to believe, but another part screamed that trust was irreparably destroyed. I need time, I finally said. I'll stay with a friend for a while. And you think about your behavior. Jason jumped up. No, Sam, please don't go. Let's discuss everything. I'll fix it all. But I had already made my decision. Quickly gathering the essentials, I left the apartment, leaving my bewildered husband alone. The following weeks passed as if in a fog. I threw myself into work, trying not to think about personal problems. Jason tried to contact me, but I ignored his calls and messages. Michael, learning about my decision to live separately from my husband, offered to stay in his country house. It was empty at the time. I gratefully accepted the offer. Gradually, I began to come to my senses. The pain and resentment were no longer so acute. I thought a lot about our marriage with Jason, analyzed the past, and I realized that the problems had started long before Emily appeared. We seemed to have grown apart, got bogged down in routine, and stopped really talking. After a month, I finally decided to meet with my husband. We talked for a long time, remembered the past, discussed the present and future. Jason sincerely repented of his actions and begged to give him a second chance. I hesitated. On the one hand, I still loved this man and believed that we had a chance to fix everything. On the other hand, the betrayal left a deep mark, and I wasn't sure I could fully trust my husband again. In the end, we decided to try to start over. Jason agreed to go to a family psychologist with me to sort out our problems. I returned home, but the relationship was recovering slowly. Almost a year has passed since those events. Jason and I are still together and working on our marriage. But I'm no longer the naive girl I used to be. I've become stronger, more confident in myself. I realized that my happiness depends primarily on myself, not on the man next to me. I'm grateful to Michael for his support during the difficult period. He became a true friend. We often communicate outside of work, and I feel that he has romantic interest in me. But I'm not ready for a new relationship yet. Now I'm just enjoying life and living one day at a time. I don't know what awaits me in the future, whether I'll stay with Jason or start over with someone else. But I do know that I won't let anyone destroy my life and faith in myself again. I've become stronger, and that's the main thing.